Hey YouTube, this is Yahweh Weeps. I am going to be doing just one more video for now at least on why is the Almighty good and why the Almighty is good. So the things that I really want to address with this are, I think, and are kind of crucial, are the problems of evil and the issue of hell and torment, eternal torment, torture, that kind of thing. So, I think that if somebody is going to claim that the Almighty Yahweh, God, the Creator, that He's good, He, she, I believe He's beyond gender. I use He as a generic in His case. Anyways, if they're going to claim that He is good, I think that they need to address the evil, the bad, the wrong that's in the world. And to me it makes sense that if they're going to claim that He's good, to have some kind of answer to that, something to address that. Because if you're just going to claim He's good and just not even deal with all the evil in the world, I think it makes sense to a lot of people to just say, yeah, whatever, I don't believe you. And then also, if you're going to claim that He damns people to eternal torment in hell, then you need to reconcile that with, if you need to address that and let people know how He's still good even though He does that. Beings that He has created, and there's other things that play into that, such as if you say that He's all-powerful and He's all-knowing and He's beyond time, that means he knew everything. There's never a time, there's never been a point in time where He did not know everything there is to know, ever, about all time. So if you're going to claim that, then you have to address the whole issue with hell, which I'm going to try to do here. But I'm really curious, any kind of answers that anybody has for either of those, evil and hell, just how people deal with that, claiming that the Almighty is all good and all powerful. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit from my creed, I think, and just to start out with. Just a little paragraph I've got. In my creed it says, I believe that everything that we go through now, including suffering and death, will be redeemed, that He has good purposes and reasons for everything He does and allows. And then even if it is beyond our understanding of what all of those are. But they include building trust and character. Okay, it's really easy to trust somebody if you never have to go through anything where the trust is required. If everything is peachy keen, and they're like, trust me, you're like, yeah, sure, I don't have any reason, it's not even an issue. If it becomes an issue, that's when the trust is put to the test. Like if somebody's leading you somewhere that's scary that you don't want to go, and they're saying, trust me, it's going to be okay, then whether you trust them or not really becomes an issue. So building that trust and character, building character, when you go through difficult things, it builds up your character. To get into the specifics, I can't think that well this morning. But it does. When you go through rough stuff, it builds your character. It makes you a deeper person. It grows you. So that's building trust and character, and then I have growth as the next one. Just what I was saying, it grows you. So growing you as a person. You go from naivety to knowledge and understanding and capability in dealing with difficult things. And I think most people, if not everyone, deals with very difficult things in this life. And I don't think any of us come out unscathed, but maybe I'll get back to that. Anyways, going on. Conforming us into the image of Mashiach. This is a huge one. The Messiah, the Christ, who people know as Jesus. Conforming us into His image. Now there's scripture. You can look this up. Being conformed into the image of the Messiah. Okay, we're being conformed into his image. What does his image look like? Well, what did he go through? He was true to the Creator. I mean, he's the epitome. He's the ultimate human being. He was true to the Creator, and which is very difficult to do in this world. At least that's been my experience. To be true to what's good and right in a world that is not conducive to that at all is a difficult thing to do. So he was true to the Creator. He spread goodness like all over the place. What he did all the time was spreading the goodness of the Creator, because he did just what the Creator wanted him to do. He said, I can do nothing on my own power. Everything I do is directed by Yahweh the Creator. So all of the good that he did was because Yahweh wanted him to do it. That's the good that Yahweh intended. So the miracles, the messages, the healings, all of it, that was all stuff that came from Yahweh. That Yahweh was like, this is who I am. I want people to know who I am. This is who I am. I heal, I do good, I teach. That's who I am. So that's what Yeshua did, the Mashiach, the Messiah. And then, to top it off, he purposed and intended to go through with a torturous death. He massively horribly, horribly torturous. He was flayed alive, basically, which would often kill people just from that, ripping the skin open, ripping the flesh open with whips with metal and rock and stuff in the end, so it would just like rip your body apart. So he was ripped apart, and then he's still alive, so they crucify him, which was an extremely torturous death. So he's tortured to death, but he knows this is going to happen before it happens, and he says, no, I need to go to this place so that this can happen, which to me is just a little insane, to purpose to go through with a torturous death. But that's what he does. So that's what we're called to do. We're called to follow in his footsteps. We're being conformed into his image, to be like him, to follow him. And that there's other places in Scripture where he says, follow me. And it talks about how we're supposed to follow in his footsteps. So we're supposed to follow him. And if it leads to being tortured to death, horribly, horribly tortured to death, that's where we're supposed to go. But that's not the end of the story. Oh, here, let me go on. Sharing in his sufferings. So being conformed into the image, sharing in his sufferings, which I just talked about, which is a huge honor, actually. Because he's the greatest human being who ever lived. The greatest human being of all time. The exalted one. The one that the Creator says, this, I'm claiming him as my son. I am so incredibly proud of him. I want everyone to look towards him, because I think he's all that. I think he's so awesome and wonderful and great. He's going to be the ultimate of all humanity. The top. The top. That's Yeshua. That's who people call Jesus. That's Yeshua HaMashiach. He's the best. The ultimate. The top. Going on. Correction. Sometimes, we endure wrongs or suffering because we're being corrected, because we're doing something wrong. We're messing up. But not always. That's only one thing out of many reasons, at least that I've come up with. Giving us knowledge of and illustrating the character of Yahweh and what is contrary to him. That's another huge one. So we're shown the good that we're showing this is what Yahweh's like. The healings that Yeshua did, the wonderful things about Yeshua, the healings, the miracles, the good messages he spread, all the good he did, that was illustrating the character of Yahweh. Now, if we want to look around and see what's opposite of Yahweh, what's contrary to Yahweh, what Yahweh says, this is not me, then we can look around and see like people murdering, people stealing, people fraud, abuse, corruption, all that kind of stuff. That's not Yahweh. That's what we see in the world around us, but that's not him. Going on. Let's see. Not understanding and appreciating not only what is bad and evil, but even more goodness, beauty, and love. If you if somebody has everything really good in life, they probably can get to a point where they don't appreciate it so much. But if somebody has been destitute and just horrible, horrible life, when they have a ton of good come their way, they're going to really appreciate it. So teaching people to appreciate, I think, is one thing. Increasing and deepening sympathy and compassion. When you have it really good and somebody else is suffering, you can feel sympathy and compassion. I'm not saying that can't happen. But when you've had it rough yourself, you're even all the more able to sympathize with other people a lot of times. A lot of times that can happen. So I think that's one thing. Building knowledge and skills needed for the next life. I think that's part of the whole reason that we're here. This is just the beginning stage. You know, this is just like almost like the birth process, where we go through this life for, you know, 70, 80 years, whatever, if you last that long. And that's not it. If there's another life coming after this that lasts incredibly longer, then this life is just the beginning. It's almost like a drop in the bucket. So if you're suffering and you're going through crap now, this is just that's not how it's going to be after this. This is just prep. That's all this is. This life is just prep. Going on. Oh, and so building skills and knowledge. So you're growing to be what's going to be beneficial for you and others in the future. But I'll get back to that probably. Benefiting others. Benefiting others. That is a huge one. And I was going to get into this a little bit later, but I'm just going to do it now. Okay, everything, there's I think it's called chaos theory, I'm not sure, but how a butterfly, the wings of a butterfly fluttering can build up a tornado on the other side of the world. It's this cause and effect that we don't see the entire scope of it. You don't see like what you do, how the effect it has on the rest of creation, on all of humanity, on the rest of the universe. Your actions, what you decide to do, you don't know. You don't know all of what impact that's going to have on the future, on the present, on the world around you, the people around you, the people not around you, the universe. You have an effect, and you can't see the entire scope of that effect. It's just unknown to you. And it's like that for everyone, but we all affect each other. I mean, if you go through life, you know that other people affect you. Other people affect how you are, who you are, what you do. We're all interconnected that way. And I think that's part of why things are the way they are. So when someone is going through something, whether it's terrible and horrible, they may be having a beneficial effect on other people and the world around them that there's no way they can know, and there's no way they can see, because they can't see all of the full scope of history and existence. But the Creator can, and He knows exactly how things, what effect things are going to have. So if He's determining that for you, this is going to be going on in your life, that may be having a beneficial effect on humanity. All of humanity. It may be having a beneficial effect that you can't see. You can't see the scope of it. But you may be doing a wonderful thing for all of humanity. And if you didn't do, humanity may be so much the less for it. And that goes back to another thing. Sacrifice. Yeshua. Prime example. Sacrifice. He goes and he endures this monumentally torturous death for the benefit of all humanity, for the restoration of all humanity. And since we're following in His footsteps, we're called to sacrifice. We sacrifice some of our own good, the good that we may have, for the good of others. That's partly what it's all about, I believe. So, going on. revealing our deep and intense need for Yahweh and His ruling. I mean, you can see it all over the world today. How we have a deep and intense need for right ruling, for uprightness, for someone to be in charge who knows what they're doing and who has everyone's best interests truly in heart, truly in mind. And that's how they operate. Because the world that I see around me, that's not what I see. I don't see that the leadership truly has my best interests in heart and truly make a society that's beneficial to everyone and that allows everyone to thrive and to be all they can be and more. I don't see that, you know. But I believe the day is coming that it will happen. But I believe that now we're learning that humanity's not able to do it on its own. So, going on, and that His great plan will prevail, which is to bring to maturity all of creation, and then to create anew, and to conform us into the likeness of His Son, which is His image, and to reveal the ultimate, the full essence and substance of Yahweh. Okay, so I think, let me just look at my notes really quick. What happens to you is not just for your sake, it's to benefit everyone. So, and that's good, you know, that what you're going through is to benefit everybody. It doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everybody. And a lot of times it will seem to, at least in this life, it can have a negative effect on someone while benefiting others, which is a huge honor. That's sacrifice. That's like a tremendously good thing. But you can't see the scope of all of existence and all of history, so you don't know how that's benefiting others. You can't see it. But it may be. I mean, a horrible, horrible thing that somebody goes through and that people look around. Okay, the tsunami that in Japan, that was not that long ago. You know, people can look and see all those people getting killed. How is that benefiting anybody? We can't see the scope. We can't see it. How that may be benefiting humanity is something that is beyond us, beyond our sight. We cannot see it. But it's very possible, and I think it's true, that it will be a benefit to humanity, even though we can't see. So the people that are dying are actually sacrificing to benefit humanity. To me, that's what I see. That's what's going on. So when you're going through something horrible and rotten, I'm really sorry, because it sucks. But you're benefiting people, which is going to come back to you, I believe. I believe in the future people are going to know this and see it. And they're going to look at you and say, you have been such a benefit. Anyways, going on. Oh, another thing. Yahweh brings good out of bad. I believe this is what He does. I believe this is how He shows who He is. He takes the good and He takes the bad and He brings good. He takes chaos, you know, in Bereshit Genesis in chapter 1 when it says there was morning, or there was evening and there was morning the first day. From what I understand, in the Hebrew that could also mean there was chaos and there was order the first day. So He takes chaos, takes bad, what's horrible, and He brings good out of it, because He's showing who He is. He's like, this is what I do. That's who I am. I take terribleness and I bring good out of it. I take the impossible and I bring out the possible. It's who He is. And another thing I wanted to comment on is I heard a really good teaching, and I can't remember all of it, but it was talking about how they would make oil for the lamps in the temple, in the Mikdash, I believe it's called. Might be right. But they would take olives and they would squeeze them, crush them, so the oil would get squeezed out. And they would do this so that the oil would be pure, really good, pure oil. But these olives were just getting crushed and squeezed, demolished, mashed to bits, to squeeze out the pure, good oil. And I believe that's what happens with a lot of people. They get squeezed and crushed to bits, demolished. And the oil, the spirit that's produced, the spirit, the ruach, the breath, the life, the essence of who you are, what's produced in the essence of who you really are, is phenomenally beautiful, awesome, good. I mean, just like inconceivably good. Inconceivably good. And that's what happens. When you're getting squeezed, when you're getting crushed, when you're getting demolished, that's what's happening with you. You're producing the pure. Well, not you producing it. The pure is being produced in you. The truly good is being produced in you, whether you see it or not. That's what's happening. That's what he's doing. I believe that's what he's doing with everybody anytime that happens. But anyways, this is how I address evil anyways. This is how I see it. And as far as like eternal torment and torture, that's just a myth. That's not even biblical. That's a false understanding. If it were true, then I think someone would have a case to say, yes, the Almighty is actually evil. He's malevolent. He's not good. And I want to stay as far away from him as I can. I think that would make sense. But if you can come up with, I'm open to somebody coming up with a reason why that's good. Why the whole idea of hell and eternal torture and torment is actually, doesn't make the Almighty evil. Because as far as I can see, it does. Then he's evil. Evil. But if you know of reasons, I am very willing to be convinced, very willing to hear it. This is something I've thought about for years and years. I'd love to know, and I'd be with you. If you convince me, I'll proclaim it. I'll tell everybody I know. But until then, I have to tell everybody I know the opposite, because the Scripture has convinced me that eternal torment and torture and hell is a myth, and all hell is the grave, and all the grave is really is us going to sleep. Now that you can go to sleep violently, someone can hit you over the head, someone can torture you to sleep, because death is sleep, but that's all it is. So we're getting prepped. Every night you go to sleep, I mean, you die. Every night you die. You have 8 hours of death. There's no consciousness involved. You might have dreams, which is almost like, what is it called? Near-death experience, something like that. That's, to me, that's what I see as dreams, is looking into the afterlife almost. Now, I'm not being extremely literal with this, but I do think it's the same concept, okay? You're getting prepped for death every night you go to sleep. And sleep isn't always the most horrible thing. Anyways, I think that's about it. Let me see how I'm doing. I'm probably way over on time. No, I'm not. Close, but not. Okay. That's what I've come up with for the answers to evil, and suffering, and death, and eternal torment, which is a myth. If you can convince me that there's any way that that could be true and the Almighty not be horribly evil, I'm willing to be convinced. But so far, after years and years of study, I've been convinced that it's a lie, it's a myth. It's a false biblical interpretation. So anyways, yes, hope you've gotten something out of this. Please feel free to leave comments, add insight, tell me how I'm wrong. Anything you want to do would be great. And I hope that you have a very good day. I hope you have a very good life. And I will talk to you later. Thank you very much. Goodbye. This is Almighty Yahweh. Shalom. Bye. Bye.